In today's rapidly changing world of work, effective communication and collaboration are more crucial than ever. This is especially true in the realm of labor relations, where the interests of employers and employees often intersect and sometimes clash. It is within this context that social dialogue emerges as a vital tool for fostering harmonious and productive workplaces. Social dialogue provides a platform for open and constructive conversations between employers, workers, and governments, allowing them to address labor issues, find common ground, and build stronger relationships. The significance of social dialogue lies in its ability to create a more stable and equitable work environment. By bringing together key stakeholders, social dialogue helps to prevent and resolve labor disputes, improve working conditions, and promote decent work for all. It also has the potential to contribute to broader societal goals, such as economic growth, social justice, and democratic governance. This essay will delve into the concept of social dialogue, exploring its definition, objectives, various approaches, and its importance in the context of Nepal. Social dialogue is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and its effectiveness depends on various factors, including the commitment of all parties involved, the existence of a supportive legal framework, and the capacity of stakeholders to engage in constructive dialogue. Despite the challenges, social dialogue remains an essential mechanism for building better labor relations and creating a more just and prosperous society. In the following sections, we will examine the different forms of social dialogue, the role of international organizations, like the International Labour Organization, in promoting social dialogue, and the specific provisions related to social dialogue in Nepal's labour laws. We will also analyse the criticisms and challenges faced by social dialogue initiatives and conclude by highlighting the overall impact of social dialogue on labour relations. Social dialogue is, in essence, a structured process of communication and negotiation between employers, workers, and their representatives. It is a mechanism that allows these key stakeholders to engage in constructive discussions on matters of mutual interest related to the world of work. The International Labour Organization defines social dialogue as all types of negotiation, consultation, or simply exchange of information between or among representatives of governments, employers, and workers on issues of common interest relating to economic and social policy. This definition highlights the inclusive nature of social dialogue, emphasizing the participation of not just employers and workers, but also governments, which play a crucial role in setting the framework for labor relations. The ILO further emphasizes that social dialogue is a fundamental right and an essential component of democratic society. It is through this process of dialogue that potential conflicts can be addressed, agreements can be reached, and a sense of shared ownership can be fostered. Social dialogue can take various forms, ranging from informal consultations to formal negotiations leading to legally binding agreements. It can encompass a wide range of issues, including wages, working conditions, occupational safety and health, social security, and labor law reform. The ultimate goal of social dialogue is to achieve consensus-based solutions that benefit all parties involved and contribute to a more harmonious and productive work environment. In the next section, we will explore the different approaches to social dialogue, ranging from bipartite discussions between employers and workers to tripartite structures that also involve governments. Social dialogue can take various forms, each with its own strengths and areas of application. The most common approaches are bipartite, tripartite, and tripartite plus, with the level of inclusivity increasing along the spectrum. Understanding these different approaches is crucial for appreciating the versatility of social dialogue and its ability to address labor issues at various levels. Bipartite social dialogue involves direct engagement between employers and workers or their respective representatives, typically trade unions and employer organizations. This form of dialogue is often seen at the enterprise or industry level, where issues of immediate concern to workers and management are addressed. Collective bargaining, a cornerstone of labor relations, is a prime example of bipartite social dialogue. Through collective bargaining, employers and unions negotiate terms and conditions of employment such as wages, working hours, and benefits. Tripartite social dialogue, as the name suggests, includes a third party, the government. This approach recognizes the government's role as a regulator, a provider of social protection, and a facilitator of economic and social development. Tripartite dialogue often takes place at the national or regional level and focuses on broader policy issues, such as labor law reform, social security systems, and employment policies. In many countries, tripartite bodies or councils serve as platforms for ongoing dialogue and consultation between the government, employers' organizations, and trade unions. The Tripartite Plus approach broadens the scope of social dialogue by including other stakeholders, such as civil society organizations, community groups, and academia. This inclusive approach recognizes that labor issues can have far-reaching societal implications, and that a broader range of perspectives can enrich the dialogue and lead to more comprehensive solutions. For instance, in addressing issues like child labor or forced labor, the participation of human rights organizations and community groups can be invaluable. The choice of approach depends on the specific context, the nature of the issue being addressed, and the level of trust and capacity among the stakeholders. In some cases, a combination of different approaches may be employed to address labor issues effectively. For example, bipartite negotiations at the enterprise level can be complemented by tripartite consultations at the national level to ensure alignment with broader policy objectives. Section 4. Social dialogue in Nepal, a history of collaboration and challenges. Nepal has a history of social dialogue dating back to the 1990s, with the restoration of democracy and the subsequent adoption of a new constitution that recognized the rights to freedom of association and collective bargaining. The country has made notable progress in establishing legal frameworks and institutional mechanisms for social dialogue. However, challenges remain in terms of implementation, capacity building, and ensuring the meaningful participation of all stakeholders, particularly workers. One of the key milestones in Nepal's journey towards strengthening social dialogue was the establishment of the Ministry of Labour and Employment in 1995, followed by the enactment of the Labour Act in 1996. The Labour Act provided a legal basis for trade unions, collective bargaining, and the formation of tripartite mechanisms for consultation and dispute resolution. Since then, Nepal has witnessed the growth of trade unions and employer organizations, although their capacity and representation, especially in the informal sector, remain areas of concern. The Comprehensive Peace Agreement of 2006, which marked the end of a decade-long armed conflict, further emphasized the importance of social dialogue in building a peaceful and democratic society. The interim constitution of Nepal, adopted in 2007, reaffirmed the fundamental rights related to labor, including the right to form and join trade unions, bargain collectively, and engage in social dialogue. The promulgation of the new Constitution of Nepal in 2015 and the subsequent enactment of the Nepal Labour Act 2017 marked a significant step towards strengthening social dialogue. The Nepal Labour Act 2017 expanded the scope of collective bargaining, introduced provisions for workplace cooperation, and strengthened mechanisms for dispute resolution. The Act also mandates the formation of tripartite committees at the national, provincial, and local levels to advise the government on labour-related policies and programmes. Despite these positive developments, social dialogue in Nepal continues to face challenges. These challenges include the relatively weak capacity of trade unions and employer organizations, particularly in the informal sector, which constitutes a significant portion of Nepal's economy. Other challenges include limited awareness of labor rights and social dialogue mechanisms, inadequate resources for labor administration, and a lack of trust among stakeholders. Section 5. The role of the ILO championing social dialogue worldwide. The International Labour Organization, or ILO, a specialized agency of the United Nations, has been a leading advocate and facilitator of social dialogue since its inception in 1919. The ILO's constitution recognizes the importance of social dialogue in achieving its overarching goal of promoting social justice and decent work for all. The ILO defines social dialogue as all types of negotiation, consultation, or simply exchange of information between or among representatives of governments, employers, and workers on issues of common interest relating to economic and social policy. The ILO's commitment to social dialogue is reflected in its numerous conventions and recommendations that promote freedom of association, collective bargaining, and tripartism. One of the most significant of these is the Tripartite Consultation International Labour Standards Convention 1976, number 144, which calls on member states to establish and promote tripartite consultations on international labour standards and related issues. The ILO provides technical assistance to its member states, including Nepal, to strengthen their capacity for social dialogue. This assistance includes supporting the development of national labour laws and policies that are conducive to social dialogue, building the capacity of trade unions and employer organisations, and facilitating tripartite consultations on key labour issues. The ILO also conducts research and disseminates best practices on social dialogue. In Nepal, the ILO has been a long-standing partner in promoting social dialogue. The ILO has supported the government in revising labour laws, strengthening labour administration, and promoting social dialogue in various sectors. It has also worked closely with trade unions and employer organisations to enhance their capacity to engage in effective social dialogue. The ILO's efforts have contributed to raising awareness of the importance of social dialogue in Nepal, strengthening the legal and institutional frameworks for social dialogue, and building the capacity of stakeholders to engage in constructive dialogue. However, challenges remain in ensuring that social dialogue translates into tangible improvements in working conditions and labour relations on the ground.